Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. So in today's video I want to talk about the February PTR, and really the state of New World. And maybe to your surprise, why I think this patch will change everything. And I would even go as far as saying it could bring us back a lot closer to the fun we felt at launch. Now before you drop a negative comment, please just hear me out. To begin, I believe things really started to go bad when they put so much weight on the expertise system and the gypsum. All this accomplished was endless elite chest runs that no one likes and everyone finds boring. But was of course the best way to push your expertise up quickly, because of course everyone was preparing for the upcoming mutations. When the January patch dropped, I, like many other people, was super excited to jump into more difficult content that mutators potentially offered, and get my gear pumped up to 625. I have always loved in all MMOs when the content gets pushed into newer tiers and we get to upgrade our gear. You both get the challenge and the reward of doing the new content, and the feeling of being so godly in the old content, making the boring daily routine tasks oh so much easier. But after 1 week of sitting around Everfall, trying to find groups after I used my initial orbs, watching the prices gradually skyrocket into ridiculous, I started to feel defeated. And as I talked to other people who were in my boat, they shared my feeling. And to make it worse, I started talking to people who had pushed to M10, who were more fortunate than me and had huge companies, so opportunity to run a lot more. And they told me that things are not a lot better on their end. So everyone right now seems unhappy, and let's have a closer look at why. First, let's address the accessibility of the mutations, or rather lack thereof. Mutation orbs can be bought once per week from your faction shop, crafted once per week at your stonecutting table, and you earn one when you complete the expedition that is that week's mutation rotation. So you have 3 per week. So if you're a solo player or in a smaller company, you have access to 3 runs per mutation cycle before you are having to start paying coin for a slot. Now I know in a perfect world, people would find a group, run together, share orbs and have 15 runs per week. But with the economy the way it is now with the inflation, everyone having taxes set to 10%, so basically we are all now renting our homes, we do not own them. Greed and distrust have taken the day. So few are sharing orbs, unless very close friends. And if you don't believe me, look at the global chat for yourself on your server. It is nothing but selling M1, selling M3, etc. all day, and the prices are getting outrageous, and more so by the day. So at this point you are looking at a game system where you are paying coins to buy Umbral Shards, so players who don't have a ton of money do not get to attend runs, especially at high tier mutations. This just doesn't make sense to me. Artificially time gating content simply by locking the number of items you can purchase is ridiculous. If they want to slow people and progression, simply make the keys more expensive, so people will have to spend more time farming in order to get them. Making them cheap to please people short term, but then locking it to 1 key per week, is frankly ridiculous. At best it should be a 24-hour cooldown, not 1 per week, especially when the mutations only last 1 week. So 99% of the player base that remains now is sitting in settlements desperately searching, looking for group so they can try to do mutations to get Umbral Shards, which has of course another unfortunate side effect. Because Umbral Shards are virtually unobtainable anywhere else other than mutations, OPR world play everywhere, even trying to get a portal zerg going for gypsum at certain times of day is impossible, even on my high population server. If it doesn't reward Umbral Shards, people simply can't be bothered doing it now. And to be frank, why would they? So the game has been reduced to a mutation lobby at this point, which has taken away from the foundation that kept a lot of the remaining players even around. Now, let's look at gear score and mutations more closely, and you might understand why not only the casuals and the lower level players are feeling discouraged, but even a lot of the hardcore players as well. When the mutations were first described to us in the patch notes, I again thought when they said you would need a certain gear score to complete a certain level of mutation, this meant, like in any MMO, that the difficulty would ramp up, making things more difficult, and lower gear score players simply wouldn't stack up. However, this is not the case. Not even close. The way it works is that every point of gear score you are off the recommended, you are punished by doing 1% less damage and taking 1% more damage, and this gets hugely punishing if even off by a very small amount. Even looking at it like this, people may say that makes sense, but it really doesn't, and I will try to explain why. This system completely negates your gear's perks, your gems and your armor weight. It simply punishes you based on gear score. which further makes no sense because your gear is not weighted evenly in terms of your total gear score. So if you have upgraded your gear score of your entire armor set, making you think logically it will make you more survivable, and not upgraded your weapons, you will take more incoming damage than someone who ignored most of their armor and simply upgraded their weapons. Why? Because weapons provide the lion's share of percent in terms of how the game calculates your gear score. Weapons providing like 20%, and stuff like boots and gloves and helms providing 4 to 5%. So according to this system, a person with much better armor will take more damage than someone with much higher upgraded weapons. Yeah, okay, this seems legit, and makes total sense, right? So this has all but killed weaponsmithing and armoring, because no more are people looking for BIS perks. The goal now is 600 in every slot to get started, because gear score will trump perks, which is ridiculous. So this artificial difficulty was the best they could come up with. There is no real difficulty increase, just a punishing system, which is always a bad choice for developers. And the way progression systems in games should work is simple. A game should ramp up in terms of required knowledge and skill to overcome a more difficult scenario. Then, when you overcome them, you are rewarded with something that makes you feel more powerful. This system fails on every front in terms of this ideology. The way it works in Mutations right now is, the game punishes you more drastically at every tier unless you meet a gear check. And once you do, it's easy. There is no skill of the player involved. If you are the best player in the game with the most best-in-slot perks and overpowered build, if you are 10 gear score too low, you will virtually do no damage and take one-shots from every mob. Then, what are you rewarded for your long grind? A gear score increase to 625. Now you are a god. Or, sadly, no. Gear score 625 means nothing in PvP, means nothing in world play, means nothing in expeditions. The only place in the game that has gear score scaling is Mutations. So the only benefit you are receiving for your time, gold, and grind is doing better in Mutations. The minute you step into any other area of the game, you're on par with people who never bothered. So you quickly realize that if you're not interested in Mutations, then there is no real reason at all to do them, because the only place 625 gear score will benefit you is within them. So if you're not doing them, you don't need it. This is a horrible reward system. That would be like WoW having Mythics drop items that were on par with Blue Quest rewards, but hey, if you wear them in Mythics, you'll do better at Mythics. People simply wouldn't bother. The rewards of these content grinds should permanently increase the strength of your character, making it a carrot people want to chase, not feel regret after chasing. At the end of the day, the only real reward for completing this grind is having higher numbers on your paper doll. No one can even see but you. Now, I'm not going to say this isn't important, because I, just like you, do find these numbers important and think they may play a role in future content. So I'm not saying they aren't worth chasing, I'm just saying the chase doesn't make sense. This brings me back to the Gypsum update and all the drama over crafters, expertise, and how you could obtain Gypsum. So their statement in both their dev video and the patch notes was they do not want to force progression into one area of the game. They wanted it to be equally spread, allowing players to choose their path. Then, less than 3 weeks later, boom, Umbral system. Go screw yourself, PvPers and crafters, you're running Mutations now. This made no sense. PvPers do not want to sit around running Mutations all day, but what else are they going to do? It is the only avenue for progression. OPR is virtually dead ass now, like before, with hour plus queues even on high pop, and the world PvP is non-existent because everyone's just sitting in town waiting on a looking for group. So new players are pretty much screwed. No OPR, no Zergs, getting booted from expeditions for not performing when they have no avenue to even increase their gear score beyond weeks of Gypsum grind, and with how the dev team has performed in the past, by the time they hit 600 to enter Mutations, some other bloated system will have been added that will negate Mutations, and those who are not in for Mutations will have missed the boat. No one will be doing them anymore, so they will quit. So yeah, we are in a grim place, with both hardcore players leaving, new players tossing in the towel, a lot of new games coming out very soon. AGS needs to correct these huge mistakes, and yes, I believe they can. So this brings us to the February PTR, and how I feel it corrects almost all of these issues with a few simple but amazing changes. The simple act of making OPR drop gear more tuned to PvP, drop gear that offers expertise bumps more frequently, and give Umbral shards, even in small amounts, has a massive ripple effect that almost every type of player will feel, and I believe for the better. Here is why. PvPers now have an option to completely forego Mutations, if they choose, or at least do less of them. And yeah, it will take them a lot longer overall to upgrade their gear, but let's be real, upgrading to 625 has very little real impact outside of mutations, other than being prepared for potential future content. So, although they will upgrade slower, they will be able to upgrade their gear specific to PvP, which is not the same as the gear we currently are being forced to upgrade in order to perform better in mutations. And they will enjoy their time upgrading it, doing what they love doing. This will also bring people back to OPR, because at the moment, OPR queues are an eternity because everyone's sitting around looking for group for mutations. This will also bring people out of the settlements, sitting and waiting on looking for group for a mutation, back into the world, back into the game. This will also help those who love running mutations, because the PvPers who are being forced to run the mutations won't be anymore, and will be a lot more likely to sell those orbs they currently were hoarding. Also, new players coming up will now have an avenue to hit the required expertise prerequisites to run mutations a lot faster, and this will create a larger pool of players running mutations, making getting into them a lot easier. And finally, crafters. This could not possibly help crafters, right? I believe it will, because once again gear perks, best in slot rolls, and all that good stuff will become important again now that the Umbral Shards can be farmed outside of mutations. So people can again become choosy about gear and not just toss on a Voidbent set and upgrade it to 620 ASAP to do mutations. So crafters will be back creating those amazing items for upgrade. Now I know some of the very rich companies will complain, saying this undermines mutators. I'm sorry, but it does not. This is just a method to gate content for EP's sake. Mutators will offer a much faster way to upgrading gear. Nothing will compete with it. 50 to 100 from OPR doesn't break it. It simply gives people options. Everything we do should offer us an avenue to progression. I personally am so excited that people can now push expertise to 600 with OPR as an option over elite chest runs, and they can even run elite chest runs, then do OPR, and then do expeditions, and then do mutators. Variety is what keeps things fresh and keeps people playing. So yeah guys, I'm sorry if that was a little long, but I feel pretty strong about this. I do believe this patch will change a lot of how the game feels, and how we feel while playing it. Do you agree or completely disagree? Let me know in the comments. I always love hearing about what you guys think is happening in the game. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.